Thank you very much, Ken Workenden. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone, and welcome back to the Meadowlands after our huge snow out yesterday. Tim Tetrick, the Bionic Man, is in the Sulky. Tim, you had your first hip replacement surgery in 2008, just came back from your second one. What made you decide to have this hip operated on?
Well, the main factor was that it needed to be done, the pain level and stuff, and it was just time to get it done, and I thought it was a great time to get it done, and that's why I decided to do it. But there was a lot of pain involved.
Any differences between this surgery and the last one?
Well, the first 4 or 5 days on this one was a lot harder. I had a lot more bruising, and it hurt the first 5, 6 days. But then it got better, just like the other one did. But it just took a little time.
Are you pain-free right now, and how does it feel to be able to walk normally for probably the first time in your life? You've had degenerative hips since you were born.
All my life, always had a limp, and this is the first time it doesn't ache all the time. The muscles hurt, but they cut the muscles in half to get that bone out of there. So hopefully, another month or two, I'll be back to over 100%, which I haven't been in a long time.
Boy, you sure do seem to recover quickly. Do you do a lot of therapy or just clean stalls for your wife, or what do you do?
The wife puts me to work, clean stalls, take care of the barn, and, I still had jogged some horses and just did the everyday thing. My doctor was cool. He looked me up and he said, I don't want to make you go do the stuff that you don't want to do, and he told me what to do. I went to the barn, and he said, just don't be stupid, and it's worked out the first time. He was very happy with the rehab on that one, so he let me do it again.
Tim, you're a guy who's always busy. You drive day and night for the most part. You're focused on harness racing all the time. What did you do for the 6 weeks to kill time? You must have been bored out of your mind.
Except for the last week, I was getting hungry again, but the first 5, I really needed a break. I was worn out, tired, and not just physically, but mentally. It's people don't understand the running up and down the road, and it's not really the driving the horses. It's getting to and from where you have to be all the time and keeping that rigorous schedule.
People that criticize drivers should have to go out and jog one or train one or drive in a race sometime. These things are so wound up and up on the bit. They're hard to control. You require a lot of strength, and it's physically demanding. Where are you at physically? Are you back to 100% yet?
I don't think so. I'm still 60, 70% muscle-wise, and, it takes, you can only lift so many weights, but to hold the horses in your back and in your arms and stuff, and it takes a little while to get that muscle back, and I forget how much how strong you are with your hands and stuff. But after a few weeks, I think I'll get back.
You certainly have a flair for the dramatic because you won with your first drive back here at the Meadowlands. That was Eagle Say a couple weeks ago as we roll in that stretch drive. Did it just seem like riding a bike? You never forget how, or did it seem kind of strange to be back out there?
I drove a couple the night before at Dover, and I felt like a fish out of water, and. It didn't feel normal in this race, but it felt good to get back in the bike and do something that I love to do. And, I wanted to get back to loving what I do, and loving to drive horses is my main thing.
So are you back to where your timing and your sense of pace and everything, judging the distance between wheel to the hoof of the horse in front of you, that sort of thing, are you back to normal?
I'm pretty close. There's still a few times that I think, man, I'm farther away than I am, but it'll all come back in time. When you drive 4,000 races, hopefully, knock on wood, no accidents or anything, but it'll surely come back quicker than later.
What is your schedule right now? Are you doing the Dover thing on the days we're closed, or what are you doing?
Just sparingly when I get enough work down there that I go, and mainly I'm going to concentrate up here, and, my main deal is to try to concentrate on the summer months, the spring, fall, and, I do own a few horses that race down at Dover, and when they're in, I try to go drive them, and, mainly just kind of do what I want to do and enjoy the winter a little bit.
You were the leading money-winning driver in North America once again in 2013. That's 7 straight years. But there was one that got away from you, and that's the Hambletonian winner, Royalty for Life. You were driving him early in the year, opted for Smile and Eli. At the time, Royalty for Life couldn't stay flat.
That was a very hard decision. Give credit to the connections of Royalty for Life. That was one of my hardest decisions I've ever had to make, and it bit me in the butt going for the Hambletonian, but I did finish second. I'm happy with the decision I did make. Yeah, I wanted to win, but especially at the race at Pocono, I thought my horse was sharper at the time. It didn't end up that way, but, it's one of those decisions that you got to live with, and, I don't think it was totally wrong. It just didn't work out this time.
Well, your Hambletonian winner from 2 years ago, Market Share, was just excellent last year. The Breeders' Crown was terrific. The TVG Free-for-All Final looks like he may go to the Elite Lop in Sweden Memorial Day weekend. You can't race with the trotting hobbles over there in Sweden. Do you see that as an issue for him?
No, I don't think so. Maybe at 3 he needed them, but I think he's getting more mature now, and he, his gait, he's learned how to go with it, and I think he'll be fine. If they have to, they'll put a little heavier shoe on him up front just to compensate without having the hobbles. But, mainly with the hobbles, it's just the first 2 or 3 steps out of the gate. But I mean, his last start, he left 26 off the wings, and I just mushed him out of there, and he left 26 at Pocono. So I think he'll be fine.
You drove in the Elite Lop in '09, I think it was, with Buckeye St. Pat, and you said going over there, it was like they treated you like a rock star. You'd be in the restaurant having breakfast in the morning, people were getting autographs, and racing's a big thing over there.
Oh, it's huge. I was downtown eating dinner with my wife, and there's people come up holding the newspapers and want me to sign them. And it'd be like me over in New York City, and somebody come up to me want me to sign a newspaper. It was pretty cool.
And things didn't work out for Buckeye St. Pat. If I remember right, didn't they take her shoes off or something?
Yeah, I mean that maybe that was the right decision, maybe not, but it didn't work out this time. But she's a great animal, and I wish I could redo that race.
Tim, I want to talk to you about something that's very controversial that really reared its head last year, and that's kicking. And basically, it's when a driver takes their foot out of the stirrup and bangs their foot against a horse's hock or touches them with their toe. I would prefer to call it nudging than kicking. Started a firestorm in the sport, and you were kind of front and center in that. What are your thoughts on that situation?
My theory on that, it's not really kicking. Like you said, it's nudging or urging one way or the other, and it's a lot better than taking your whip and, slashing on the horse with the whip. But, it is a rule the way it's written right now. I think we need to change the rule and make it where it's, you're allowed to take your foot out to pull the plugs. That's not kicking, but I think they just need to reword the ruling. And, last thing I ever want to do is abuse a horse. I try not to hit one very much. I'm trying to hand drive them, and at the time, everybody's, urging and trying to make a great race. And if instead of everybody talking about the kicking in that race, I think we should have seen how 2 great champion 3-year-olds were fighting it out down the lane. And, Captain was passed at the 7/8, and he fought back and, fought that other horse off. And was it the kicking or not, or the nudging? The horse just fought in and did what he had to do.
Well, Brian Sears was nudging Vegas Vacation as well, and one of the great stretch drives. And the thing that kind of gets me, people act like this just started. I mean, they haven't watched a race at the Meadowlands for the last 15 years. There's a lot of guys that do that every single race.
And I'm not kicking. Like when you kick, it's like taking a soccer ball or a football and you drop it and you kick the ball forward. We're dropping our foot down and, brushing the hock. That's not kicking, and it definitely does not hurt the animal. And if anything, they respond from it. And we're trying to make our horses do the best for the owners, the gamblers, and ourselves, which is, I think, very important. And the gamblers want to win, the owners want to win, and the fans want to see great racing. And, speed is very important in our game.
Tim, the new Meadowlands reversing the finish line to the half-mile pole, does the track play any different at all in your mind? Do you drive any differently?
No, you still got to read the program. If you have a closer, you still got to put your horse in a closing position. And when you're 30, 40 to 1, you're not going to most time win. So you got to race them to get paid and, try to get a check and make the owner money. And hopefully next week you're in a better spot and have a braver horse. So, my main thing is still race horses and put them in the right spots and try to make as much money as for myself and the owners, and the gambler.
When you were recovering from your surgery, you came to the track one night, you hung out in Victory Sports Bar, you were up in Trotters for a while. What do you think of our new facility?
Well, it has every opportunity to be again, be the greatest place ever to have harness racing, and it's on its way. It's a beautiful facility. The crew's done a great job, Gorell and all the company, and it can be anything that we want it to make it be, and I hope for all the best for everybody.
Let's run through your horses that you're driving tonight for the gamblers, give them some insight quickly. First race, number 8, Aria J, made some money in the New York Sire Stakes and the Excelsior Series, had to have needed that last start.
Yeah, and if everybody on the program is going to see that he raced well, or she raced well, and hopefully she'll race as good as she did last week, and she does have some talent.
With John Campbell hurt, you pick up the drive in race 2 on Sweet Justice, who's been excellent. Raced great last out, first up against Dayline Magician.
Yeah, he raced super. In the classes below the Open, when he was running up the level, he looked awesome. Looked like he might be a top colt, and he didn't disgrace himself last week. It was just the trip that got him beat. He raced really well and got beat by some nice horses.
Third race, number 10. Do you know where you're going? Adds Lasix tonight. $40,000 Tattersall Sail by. Won a late closer at Lexington against a much better group than this.
Yeah, but the form looks a little etchy to me, and I'm not sure. I know if she races like she did back on the bottom of the program, she can definitely go with these horses. But she made a break last week, and she didn't qualify great up in Canada. And New Connections are very good at what they do. So I don't know about this one.
Moving on to the 4th race, number 5, Zoli. Don Swick's colt. Linda Toscana trains now, but he doesn't win.
He doesn't, but he gets money. And last week it's kind of hidden, but he did have some trot. And I know Toscano said they've had a lot of trouble getting him out with the weather. And but he's a non-wars of 2 racing against non-wars of 3-4. He's only won 1 race, so I think he just needs a little class relief.
5th race, number 5, Cameron Lucky. Heidi Rohr coming off a strong week. You got to check with her in a C1 against Best Boss when we opened up.
Yeah, I mean, a little class relief here, and we'll see what happens. But, Heidi's been having a good meet here so far, and she owns this one. I'm sure she's going to try to make as much as she can.
6th race, number 8, Raven Victory. They bought him at the sale, I think, for $20,000, but you won a summer survivor leg with him last summer, and Linda Toscano trained him at the time.
Yeah, they just bought him out of the sale. He was up in Canada for a while, and he did race really good last week. I was surprised. I picked off of him, and he really turned in a good effort after I watched the replay.
Moving on to the 7th race, number 4, Marinade Hanover. Probably another case of Linda loyalty. What happened with her last week?
I really don't know. I still had the plugs in, and there was the 2 best horses were on the front and in the 2-hole, but I was trying to ride along there, and she just she made a mistake. I know in the past she's done it, but the last 5 or 6 she had, and I guess it was just rust on me probably.
8th race, number 5, Smoother Ride. Actually won the Open at Dover. I think this horse just changed hands to John McDermott.
Yeah, I see that. He's got some class. He made $100,000 last year, and if he's on his best game, he shows he can trot 54, and I think that's competitive in here.
9th race, number 1, Top Brand. Dave Miller opts off. You probably have never heard of this horse before, but Virgil Morgan trains it. That's positive.
Well, the first thing is Virgil. He's a very good positive, and he shows he can win. He had 8 wins, and he didn't have a great year last year, but trainer change. Maybe he'll finally find out what's wrong with him.
10th race, number 7, Hurrikanebiggeorge. Your second John McDermott horse tonight. A lot of instructions to remember with these 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of notes when you drive for John, which is he knows his horses well, so he wants to make sure you do too. And the horse has got some old back class. He's not been on top of his game the last few years, but he's in the bottom class here, and old class does show up sometimes.
Last question for you on the horses. 12th race, number 3, First Class Princess, was actually bred. She's got a Muscle Hill filly on the ground. Had to have needed that last start. Fit her tonight?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think so a lot. I was really happy with her effort last year, not racing in over almost a year and a half, and she trotted home really good.
Now, do you charge your brother Trace rent to stay at your house?
Only when it snows.
Only when it snows. He has to go out and do the driveway, right?
Yep, do the driveway.
And the final question, I heard you spent big money for a pony for your daughter Tressa from John Wagner. Is that true?
Why'd you have to bring that up? I was hoping John would want to. She is a very good pony, and whatever she needs to make her happy, and she is a great pony. She's a lot of fun, and she plays with Trist all the time. And the other day she had a shovel she was cleaning the stall with, and the rake was there. The pony grabbed the rake and was hitting Trist in the back with it, so it's pretty cool.
I think I'd pay John Wagner in Monopoly money if I were you. Thanks for joining us, Tim. Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a quick time out. Wendy Ross in the air chair when we return.